Hello, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Glad you could join me once again. This is the first episode of a brand new series on my channel entitled A Conversation With. Today, I'll be having an important conversation with my good friend Aidan Smith, one of my biggest heroes and inspirations. This show that I'm doing was very important to me because I want to reach out to all of my fellow athletes and thank them for motivating and inspiring me every day to never give up. At times like this, we need to motivate and inspire each other, most of all. They are the true heroes, in my book, besides our first responders, and our military and the families. So this show is very important for us to do. There we go. I see you, Ian. Okay. Approve. Hey, Aidan, welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm good, bro.
I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule just to do this. It means a lot to me.
Thanks. I tried doing this earlier, but man, I had to go drive up to work and then things really got out of hand, so I'm sorry I couldn't answer you before.
Listen, I understand, and apology accepted. We're family, so at
Thanks,
least I
bro.
get to talk to you through this, and this is really important that we're having this conversation.
Yes, sir.
So I want to begin by explaining to everyone how I know Aidan. I reached out to him on Instagram and Twitter in late 2020, telling him how much he motivates and inspires me every single day to never give up. And I couldn't thank him enough for it. And as a Special Olympics New Jersey athlete, I idolize and look up to him for motivation and inspiration. So I just want to say thank you for that.
No problem, brother.
So the first question I have to ask you is, how are you doing throughout this pandemic?
I mean, I myself, it's kind of getting to me, I don't get to see that many friends anymore. Um, I'm kind of stuck at home all day. But on the bright side, you're able to get a lot of work done around the house. You're able to focus more on school. And you hit. I may not be like as a football player, I don't get to go to school and like join the team and weight lift with them and you practice with them because my parents are kind of OCD about that stuff. So luckily though, I'm able to get it done at home. And honestly, the pandemic's kind of shown me that you should appreciate the people in your life because they could be taken away just like that.
I couldn't agree more. That is one of the biggest lessons that I feel that everybody has learned in 2020 is that
Oh,
to appreciate life and don't take it for granted because we're here today, gone tomorrow.
yes,
And let me
sir.
just say, for all of you affected by this pandemic, for those of you that have lost someone, our hearts and prayers are with you all.
Yeah, I would.
Even
I
though
would like to say too because I I know being alone, like being alone, especially in this pandemic. I know a lot of people are um suffering from depression because they don't get to go out very much, and I'd like to send my prayers to anyone who sees this um, and needs to hear this, that you're not alone, man. I've been stuck in my house by myself for like months now, and I can tell you it sucks. Every day of my life for like the past couple of months is like it's like it's being replayed on a CD. It's crazy because every day
Mm.
feels like I do the same thing. I make the exact same movements, and it's really crazy.
Basically,
It's
you felt
crazy in
that
my
since the
opinion.
pandemic, your life has been in
Yeah,
a rut.
yeah. I felt my life has been a merry-go-round of the same thing since the pandemic. At this point, I don't even remember what it's like to go out and hang with friends because I'm stuck at home all day doing
Mm.
schoolwork, watching TV,
Right,
and
right.
you know,
You gotta, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it is important for you to get the air into your lungs, but at the same time, you have to really be careful, especially with the debate around masks going on a little bit. So,
okay. Well,
um,
I I for me, I know that this is not a hoax. There's like a lot of
mhm,
people that I know think that it's a hoax, and I look at them like I can't believe that they think this is a hoax. I mean, so many people have died from this, and you know, it's not like around my town you go into a store and you'll get away with not wearing a mask because, and
mhm,
I'm sure that's the same with every state. Um,
right,
yeah, you like my local grocery store, you can't go inside without a mask. There's usually a worker there that is standing there, and they'll either give you a mask or they'll thank you for wearing a mask. So they're polite about it. They don't freak out if you're not wearing a mask. They just ask you nicely, please put a
right,
mask
right, right.
on.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that. Definitely.
Yep.
Um, let's talk about your
All right.
ball career. And my biggest question is for you: how long have you been playing football, and what really fascinated you about the sport?
So I've been playing football since 2014, and this will be my, or no, excuse me, 2015. This will be my seventh year. Um, so I've been playing football for 6 years currently, and the thing that the thing that I really um, enjoy about my football career, and that I hope to take advantage of while I have what's left of it, is that it makes me a hard worker. If I like say if I were the sixth grader that I was back before I started playing football, not that I was a bad student or anything,
Hmm.
but we talked about this last time. I told you that my grades weren't the best. Um, I started playing football, and football kind of taught me that life is not easy in general. So you got to work hard for everything. Nothing's just gonna be given to you for free.
Hmm.
So, like, what really inspires me, and I tell myself this every year, I'm not going to let my grades affect my football career because honestly, that's one of the stupidest things that could keep you from playing the sport that you love. And that goes for any student athlete, the baseball players, soccer players, hockey, wrestlers, all kinds of stuff like that. Tennis, even. They won't you'll get, like you told me when we first met, grades are everything, and you'll get benched if you don't keep up on grades, which is why, I do whatever I can. I'm not embarrassed to ask for help. I, I, I had a peer tutor last year to help me in math, and, she helped me out really good. I've kind of gotten better at math. I'm not a great math guy, but, um, you know, just all you gotta do is ask for help, and I mean, you shouldn't be scared to ask for help,
No one should.
because if you have something that can affect your life, um, like your high school athlete career, you should ask for help, because if you let grades slow you down and if you let okay, let me rephrase this. If you let grades take away something that's gonna have a huge impact in your life, like what are you showing yourself about your future self? Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be the old man to look back on my high school days and say, I could have played my senior year, but I didn't because my grades were bad. So when I'm an old man, I'll be able to look back and say, you know what? I worked hard and I put the time in the classroom, but also on the field. Because a lot of my teammates are, I'm not going to give names, but a lot of them are always late to practice. They goof off during practice. And I'll be honest with you, I have goofed off during practice, and you obviously get punished. You have to do sprints for that. Um, but when I go to practice, I'm one of the few. Well, not the few. There's a lot of kids that go to practice and try their best to focus on everything. But I'm not one of the um kids that'll go to practice and just goof off and talk to
Mhm.
their friends and be joking. I'm one of the kids that goes to practice, uh, takes the orders and gets it done. Because you're not going to get a starting position if you're goofing off unless you're
No.
a coach's favorite, which tends
Right.
to happen a lot.
It, I agree with you on that. It doesn't tend to happen a lot, you
Yeah, you you
you
you
have
can
to
understand that it's frustrating.
it is frustrating, but you have to, if you want that starting position, you have to work hard and be dedicated and earn that
Sure,
position.
you're exactly right because I have a I my aunt's adopted son.
Hmm.
It is, I want to say, in probably by now around fourth or fifth grade. His name, I'm not gonna give his name. Never mind. He's he played he plays flag football, and I find it inspiring because he looks up to me as a high school football player, and I think that's really cool. Um, he every time he sees me, we play football, we toss the football around. He runs a few routes, and I toss him the ball and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
I remember one day I went to my cousin's basketball game, in the next town over from mine, and he went with me so that we could go to the football field at the high school instead of watch the game. And so we went out to the football field. There were some tires there. We were flipping the tires. We were working out. We were doing some cone drills and throwing a couple passes. And he kind of asked me like the same thing that you did just earlier. What is your favorite thing about football? And at this point, I'm kind of telling him your favorite thing about it doesn't really matter until you prove to yourself that you're gonna put in the work. Because if you're not, basically what I told him is if you're not getting the grades, you're not gonna get anywhere. Like a lot of student athletes think, I can join the sport, coaches aren't going to matter, but I can tell you one thing, and my coach tells us this every day back when I used to see him, that he checks grades constantly because you never know when a college can be calling up coach and saying, I want to talk to so and so about a scholarship so that they can play football for me.
Hmm.
But like I've been told, I don't know who this happened to, and I wouldn't give names anyway because that's disrespectful. But um, I have a good idea of who it was. Um, a college football coach was on the phone with my coach one day, and he said, "I want to talk to this kid because I want to give him a scholarship to Weber State University, which is just a couple hours from where I live."
Hmm.
And he was really happy, and I hate to see stuff like this happen. The kid was not doing well in school. He was sloughing. Coach would catch him sloughing. His grades weren't that great, but I think he got some help because he did play this senior year, and I think he he got some help. Talked to his counselor.
Mhm.
I'm sure his parents made him get better grades. To be honest with you,
Yep.
because
Mhm.
I don't know if he would have done it on his own. But well, what I think was happening because the kid's a really good football player. You know, he's a really fast kid. He's got really good foot. His I think coach is really what inspired him because he did tell him that coach loves all of his football players, but he really wants, especially his seniors for their last year, he really wants to see them play and just have fun because when you graduate from high school and um you don't have the get an offer because like I told you last time, I've only seen one kid go to play
Right.
college
Right.
to college out of my whole high school football career. And, that kid's out serving a mission right now in somewhere in Hawaii. I'm not 100% sure where. Um, I, but yeah, that's pretty much what motivated him to get his grades up because, coach wants to see kids' success. Every coach does. So
Abs-
to
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think to top it all off that yeah, coach he saw that coach sees the good in everyone and coach will try do whatever he needs to help you. So I'm like 100% sure that coach motivated this kid to get better grades and start going to class and not goof off on the football field and get to practice on time because the coach is a really good guy and he wants to see his football players succeed in high
Everyone
school
does. Absolutely.
and he wants to see his kids go play college football and succeed in life in general. Like he's even told us before, like if there's something you want to do in life, come to him. Even if it's like 10 years after you graduate high school, if you ain't seen him for 10 years, he's always told us if you're having trouble in life and you need someone to back you up, you need help from someone to call him.
Hmm.
Like in my opinion, I don't say this enough around him, but in my opinion, I think he's a really good guy, and I'm just
Of
happy to have
course.
him as a.
Of course. And I just want to say to you, Aiden, um, I appreciate the fact that you're taking time out of your schedule to talk to me about this.
Oh, no
And
problem.
this is the conversation that we need to have. And I want to explain, yes, I did. We had technical difficulties last time, but this is the official interview that we're doing.
Oh yeah, for sure. For
So,
those of you watching, we did a video chat on Instagram, and I had a screen recorder, but for some reason, it usually records audio, but I guess when you're on the phone, it doesn't record that. So
yeah,
we had a video call, but I'm in my car right now because I don't want to disturb my family because I want to be able to talk loudly so that you can actually hear me. So
right.
I'm sitting in
So,
the driveway right
but
now.
it's fine. We'll make do with what we can. What we
Oh yeah,
can. We have to do what we can. That's the biggest lesson the pandemic also taught us is
yeah,
that you got to grab life by the horns, and that's what we're doing. What interests me is how you used your cousin as a reference as he's playing flag football.
yeah,
And
yeah. I,
so,
I see a lot of talent in the guy. I mean, I don't see him like often because
mhm,
like especially nowadays, with the pandemic.
right,
But um I don't want to disclaim exactly what's going on
right,
with his parents because you know I just don't want to say exactly what's going on. I want to say that currently they are going down a bad road, and I'm just happy to see like even his sister too, you know, like she's in school, she's doing good. Um,
Mm,
and him him taking an interest in a sport, you know, like I look forward to hope like I really hope that he goes down the right track and plays
absolutely. You
plays
want what
football for
you want what's
yeah,
best for your
yeah, I
family,
want what's
and you
best for
give
him.
them
I don't want him to go down the same
the
road that
same
his
path
dad's
that you
going,
did. Right, right.
and I don't want him to go down the same road that his dad's going because he's a good kid. Don't get me wrong. Like I knew him when I was young, and yeah, he was going towards that road a little bit, you know, kind of talking back and you know stuff like that. But
Mhm.
these days, and this is what I love about football or any sport. These days, he's acting a lot better because he's taken up a sport.
Right.
And you know, I've been like this since day one. You know, I know you know like you know kids in high school. You know they goof off, they fight over dumb things, and you know
Yes, they
even
do.
even
I trust me. They do. I was once a teenager myself, and I know how it
yeah,
is at that age. You're rebellious. You think you know everything, but
exactly. And you
as we learned, we really don't.
uh-huh,
But the connection with your cousin that I'm asking you in this question is, you just said that you've only played for about, you're entering your seventh and final season, I should say.
right. And the thing is, the reason I look so far into the future is because I know the kid has talent. Like
Mhm.
I know he has talent.
Right.
So I look into the future like that I hope he stays on the right path.
Of course.
And if I can help him, I do everything in my power to help him because you know, I don't want to leave THS right when I graduate. I don't want my football career just to be done, just gone like that. Now I have to move on to
Hmm.
something else.
Right.
You know, even if I'm a fan in the stadium seats and I could see him down on the field playing football, I would find that amazing because you know, I wouldn't have to leave that vibe.
Right.
I would be jealous of him because I would be up in the stadium in the stands where my parents used to watch and he would be down on the field. So
Playing
like
the sport he loves.
exactly. So it's almost like I'm reliving the sport through him, if that makes
Right.
any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because
It makes complete
because
sense.
because I would get to watch him play to play what I used to be so um how the hell am I trying to word this? Let's just say if I were able to see him play, it would make me so proud because I know I when I was about his age, his his mom used to babysit me
Right.
in a little um in a little apartment building. And
Hmm.
I'm not don't take that for granted. I'm not talking about any big fancy, you know, apartment building you see nowadays. It was like a house complex with about four apartments in it. And you know, I hate the way his dad treated um his mom. And you know, that it's such a bad example in my opinion and you know,
Right.
I'm not going to get into detail of it, but
Right. Right. Absolutely.
it's you know, I'm just to make story short, I'm just happy to see that he's found something that he's passionate about.
Hmm.
And you know, I hope like I pray to the Lord that his parents are proud of that.
Of
I,
course.
I I don't know where they are or what they're doing, but I pray that they get to hear from him once in a while
Hmm.
because you know we're not in his shoes. You know, we don't know what it's like to not get to see your parents, and you
Right.
know
Yes.
so. I just hope that they know he's taking up great things. He's going down a good road, and he's not following
Right.
in the footsteps that makes him a bad person.
So what I was going to ask you was, being that your cousin started playing flag football, do you have that regret of not playing football longer than you are now?
Oh yeah, for sure. I you know the the very last game when I take my pads off for the last time, you know it's heartbreaking. Obviously, I've seen seniors have to quit for 3 years in a row now, and I swear to you, it's sadder than going to a funeral.
Hmm.
Like you're in the locker room, especially if you like say it's an important playoff game like this following year, and you didn't win, and you have to hang up your shoulder pads, and you never get to wear them again. It's honestly one of the saddest sights you'll ever see.
I truly agree with that. I've seen a lot of games with athletes that had to take off their shoulder pads for the last time. It's an emotional experience,
Yeah. So
very
yeah,
emotional. But at
to
the
answer
same,
your to answer your question, yeah, I wish I look back, I can't remember this exactly, but my one of my friends actually got me into the sport of football,
hmm,
made me want to play, so we'd be on the same team.
right,
And my mom tells me that I think I was I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I was like, I want to play football. And she said, "All right." And then we get to the sign up thing, and I'm like, "No, I don't want to play football." And that happened for 2 consecutive years. And looking back on that now, I wish I would have just um grew up, if that makes any sense, and said,
hmm.
"Yes, I want to play football. I'm gonna play football, and I'm gonna get my grades straightened up, and everything's gonna work out better for me."
The biggest advice that I would like to give you, Aiden, if I may,
Yes, sir.
as one athlete to another, lead to another, is to cherish the time that you have now on the football
Exactly.
field. And the reason why I'm saying it, as you just mentioned, your reality is right around the corner.
Right.
Once you take off those shoulder pads for the last time, it's time. It will be like reality sunk in.
You're right.
And so, regardless of what
We it's
happens,
it's crazy because as a younger athlete, when say you're just a sophomore or something,
hmm,
when you get to dress for varsity at such a young age, you know, you're you feel blessed to be in your position. Even if you're just getting dressed up to be a backup, and you might not even get to play,
hmm,
you know you're still under Friday Night Lights, and your coaches still trust you that you can get the job done.
absolutely, they truly do. Absolutely.
And you're right, when I play my final football game, I can tell you what I'm gonna do. When I play my final football game, I won't be, saying this is my final football game. I'll be having fun, you know what I'm saying? Because yeah,
Exactly. It's
yeah, so
win
what
or
this is my
lose.
last
Win or lose, you're already a champion in my book,
e-
and no one will ever take that away from you
exactly. Win or
because
lose,
you
you know what? Also, win or lose, I will always be able to say, you know what? I played football in high school. That was my dream since I was a little kid, and what am I doing right now? I'm playing high school football, And I know if you were to go back to like to me when I was a kid, say like fifth grade, and be like, you know, you're a defensive end for THS football right now, and you're playing in high school football, I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like,
And
it's funny.
you wouldn't be able to say to your younger self that you have the opportunity of talking with a Special Olympics New Jersey athlete. You'd be like,
Exactly.
why me?
My my future self, my past self. If I were to tell me myself in the past that I'm a THS defensive end, it's funny because I would be like, okay, well, first of all, what the hell's a defensive end?
Right?
So,
You would have been like in a culture shock right now.
I,
Absolutely.
what's football again?
I let's
It,
talk about, if
but
I
yeah,
can, how you and I linked up. I explained a little bit in the intro that as an SMNJ athlete, I personally looked up to you for motivation and inspiration. That was true.
yeah,
And the
yeah, same
wisdom
to
that
you,
I
man.
sent you, that was also pretty much what you summarized, because the biggest lesson I learned was from Eric LeGrand, who was a former Rutgers University football player who is now a sports
Right,
broadcaster. He suffered a lifelong concussion, and he's really paralyzed from the waist down. I'll send you a picture of him
all right,
right after this interview so you know who I'm referring to.
all right,
But the biggest lesson that he taught me is that there are only two things, well, actually three things that could
right.
stop you from playing the sport you love. One is your GPA, because you have to have a certain grade point average in order to stay on the team. Because
Right,
if you don't have that GPA, bench within a snap of a finger or
right,
probation.
right,
The second thing is your own self, because if you're pressuring yourself to pass the course in order to play, then
well,
that's,
well,
and then the third thing would be your
that's
health.
kind of that's kind of a motivation in my mind.
Mhm.
Not that I don't get me wrong. It's not like I let the pressure of, oh my gosh,
Right.
I gotta get this done. I gotta be able to play football. But like I told you earlier, I don't let my grades get in the way of my football career.
Right.
So you know that's well, of course. I don't think there's any student athlete that could say I've come this close to not playing my 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 sport in high school. You know, I think everybody's had a that culture shock moment where they're like, "Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, I really screwed up this time. I'm not gonna be
Right.
able to play football." Which I'll tell you my experience. I was in, geez, I think ninth grade at the time, and I was failing science, and my math class was at a D. All my other classes looked good, but the D and the F made my GPA extremely low.
Hmm.
So, I mean, luckily I had a coach. My coach um was he understood the problem. You know, he understood that I can work hard and stuff like that. But he understood that I'm not a
Hmm.
great. It's funny to
You're not a
say
great scholar, but you are putting the effort into it.
it right. I'm not like I don't I'm not. It's not like I'm gonna cheat to get the grade. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
what I know is what I know, and if I don't know, oh well.
Right. Right.
But like I said earlier, my coach offered me the help, with some assignments, and we got it done, and he, I was I was blessed to be able to pass when I got um help from him and help from students, help from
Right.
other football players too, because what coach does is he puts us with students that are doing good. If you're not doing good in school, you get put with um somebody who is doing good.
Right. And you guys
You
work
know?
together, partner up. Yeah.
Right. Right. That's how a lot of my activities were. I used to work for a haunted house out here in my local town, and the owner, he's a really cool guy, and um he would do the same thing because I don't like to stereotype the people that work there, but they're kind of
Right.
trouble they're
Absolutely.
kind of troublemakers,
Right.
and
Well, you are entitled, I just want to say this as a disclaimer, you are entitled to your own opinion.
right, but I mean I don't want to hurt anybody because
Right, right, absolutely. I
I
get it.
know a lot. I'm pretty good friends with a lot of people that work there, to be honest with you,
Right. I get it.
but he's like the same way, and I know working at a haunted house doesn't have anything to do with school or anything, but I th- I I treated him he treated his actors, if you will, like they were student athletes. He wouldn't he
Right.
would
That's how
not
you supposed to be.
he would not let you set foot in the haunted house if you had bad grades. He wouldn't
Hmm.
let you set foot in the haunted house if you sloughed or if you were a bad student in general.
Right, right.
So it's like, that's why I'm glad to see some of my friends who I know are, I'm just going to say it, I know they're depressed, and I know that's why they work in a haunted house because, they want friends to be able to come to. And, it's like therapy almost because, they can go to this place and they can talk to friends and stuff like that. I knew this girl I don't really talk to anymore, but I knew she was depressed, and she wasn't really open about the problems, but I knew she was in a way addicted to the place. Because don't get me wrong, this haunted house we worked out at wasn't just some shopco that they turned into a haunted house with a
Hmm.
couple of props and decorations. This was this
Absolutely.
this was legit an abandoned mental institution out here in my city that this really cool guy turned into a haunted house. When you enter this place, you can feel the emotion of the patients that
Definitely.
were there, and you can feel the pain of the
And
patients
the
that were
suffering that
there.
they've gone through. Absolutely.
Yes, sir, exactly. Which I don't know, it's hard to explain, which is why it was so cool to just be able to go there with,
Hmm.
I thought it was pretty cool. But,
It definitely
I'm
is.
ram
And you seem to be one inspiring young man who has a lot of
thank
potential. And I'm
thank you, bro.
and I will be rooting for you no matter where you go in life. And
Thank you, bro.
speaking of that, we're gonna talk about our paths. And when I first told you that I was an SONJ athlete, you were like, "Wow, what's that? Tell me more information."
Yeah.
So, but what was it like for you hearing that somebody from, I'm gonna say, from across the country who you didn't
Well,
even
I thought it was pretty amazing. Like, I'll be honest with you, when you first messaged me that day, I I thought it was pretty cool because I didn't know you were an athlete, but I knew you were a good guy because again, like I told you in the last interview we did, you you followed and reached out to a lot of football players that I knew from different states, and they contacted me and said, "Hey, have you talked to this guy? He's really cool." And I told them, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just got DM'd by him today, and I agree. He's really a cool guy. He has a lot of motivation, and he sees a lot of potential in us. And at the time, yeah, you're right. I didn't know what the Special Olympics was. So, but I did notice. I did see a picture on your Instagram and Facebook where you're with your teammates.
Yes.
So that's why eventually I kind of wanted to get to know um, more about the Special Olympics. Um, so I thought it was pretty cool, like I said, because you have a disability, but you don't let it get in the way of being an athlete. You told me, and what I think is really cool, and I didn't tell you last time, you told me that you wanted to play football, but you couldn't because of your disability. So what I thought was really cool is you changed sports, but you're still an athlete in everyone's book. So I thought it was really cool. Like, even though you're not able to play the sport that you wanted to play, you showed everyone else that you could still play a sport and you could still be an athlete, even though it's
And
not
still be a
necessarily
team supporter, yeah.
exactly.
And honestly, I'm actually glad you said you brightened my day by saying that I will gladly give you more information on the Special Olympics, like right
Right,
after this interview. Like
right,
you could continue to talk to me privately. We could have this conversation about that.
right.
Um, you told me that the hardest part being about playing football is the discipline. And
Right.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's the one thing I have in common with you because the hardest part about being an SONJ athlete is the discipline and the training and the time and the effort. Because when I first started SONJ, this would have been my fifth season with SONJ.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how you look at it.
Right.
I, like I've been playing football for a long time now, and
Mm-hmm.
when I like say when I first started, yeah, my biggest issues were training, discipline, not and it didn't take up a lot of time back then, but
Right.
you just went to practice and then you went home. It only took up 2 hours of your day. But
Right.
but
But now
nowadays,
you with the workouts and everything it takes for you guys, I would
yeah,
say it would take longer.
yeah, but nowadays, I'm disciplined. I got a chip on my shoulder. The workouts don't really bother me anymore because I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten in better shape since my first year of football. So I mean, really, the only thing that bothers me, um, this year is or nowadays is that it takes up a lot of your free time. But
Right.
but obviously there's just things you gotta do to sacrifice for the sport that you love because
Absolutely. You're
it's
paying.
not like I'm just gonna quit football because it takes up a lot of my free time. That's what you get the weekend for. And
Right.
Friday nights after you win the game, you go home, you celebrate. That's your free time right there. And
Exactly.
Monday and
uh
Monday morning, you go right back to the drawing board and you can
right back
fix
to
what
the
you did last
back to the
week.
old drawing back to the old drawing board and your nose to the grindstone.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna share this with you.
I could be honest with you. I would not play football. Well, here's the thing. What I have right now is just a mindset because I can promise you if the amount of time that football takes up really bothered me, I wouldn't play football.
But
But obviously you can see I play football, so the time really doesn't bother me. It's obviously just my mindset, which
absolutely.
this year I'm obviously going to try and fix because I don't like thinking into my head, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to go to film this early." I can't
Right.
believe we're gonna be stuck in a classroom for this long. Because when you wake up, because I am an early bird. Obviously, I wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm at school by 6:30, and I hang out with friends until 8 o'clock, and then I go to class, and then I'm in class all day, 6 hours, and then you go straight to the film room for like another hour and 30 minutes, and then you go to practice for 2.5 hours. And then the drive home takes about 30 minutes, and by the time I'm at home in bed, by that time it's already about 9 o'clock. So, yeah, it takes up a lot of time, but I mean, what the hell better things do I have to do, honestly?
Right.
Because, I mean,
So let
if
me
I,
just say
if I
this to
didn't have
you.
football, if I didn't have football in my life, every day of my life would be a pandemic, would be a
Right.
quarantine pandemic. Obviously, I'd find things to do, and like I said, a job is really hard to um
Mm.
obtain when you're a football player, like I said, just because it takes up so much of your time.
Right.
But the beauty, if you can even believe I'm gonna say this, the beauty of the pandemic is that my par- my parents won't let me get a job because I should probably mention this too. Oh my gosh, when I about a year ago, I was diagnosed with JIA. It's a juvenile arthritis disorder, and I
Wow.
and I take a medicine every other Tuesday. I have to get a shot in my leg every other Tuesday so that my joints stay nice and cleared up.
Mm.
So, um,
Wow.
so yeah, like that. I don't really know how true this is, but it makes my immune system very low, like very um unresponsive, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So my chances of catching COVID-19 is about 50% greater than everybody else's.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
sorry, bro. I think we're gonna have to wrap this up. I'm getting a phone call right now.
Okay, well, let me just say to you that we could do a follow-up, but I just
Oh
want you to
yeah, bro.
remember this.
We could probably do another one tomorrow if you want to.
Yeah, but let me just say this. Remember the Special Olympics athlete's oath,
Yes, sir.
and I thank you so much for this time that we have together.
No
And
problem,
I look
brother.
forward to talking to you tomorrow again, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, take care.
All right, you too, bro.